it's the time to motivate your mind. Come with me, let's make this moment brighter. Wake up with the Bahamas and sunrise. Come on and wake up with the Bahamas and sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas and sunrise. Wake up with the Bahamas and sunrise. Yeah.
Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. I'm Anastasia Palacios.
Good morning. I am Philip Simon. Happy Monday to you.
And of course, it's a pleasure to be back in your company over the weekend. We hope that you enjoyed it, that it was safe, and that you're looking forward to a new and productive week.
You look great this morning, madam. I can tell you had a wonderful weekend.
I did. I cannot deny it, Phil. I went to Eleuthera, and so good morning to all of my people in Eleuthera,
hometown.
especially my folks in, actually I didn't get up to Bluff. You know, we were staying in South Eleuthera at the Cape.
Okay.
Down there in Eleuthera, and then we took some time to drive up the island, but unfortunately we stopped just after the bridge going to Queen's Path, and it really was just phenomenal.
Amazing.
You know, every time I go to Eleuthera, I am just in awe.
Yeah, it's different.
This time we explored some areas that I didn't even know existed. So there's these caves called the Cathedral Caves that are in Rock Sound, and then we went up to the Queen's Path, which is just before the Glass Window Bridge. And just to see the beauty that we have on these islands, and I wonder how do we market this? I sound like a tourist because I've done, obviously, my mom being from North Eleuthera, I've Preacher's Cave multiple times, and you know, you have nice beaches, you go to Harbour Island, you have good food, but this was really just an eco experience for me. And I went to go and see the primeval forest that they're protecting there at Leon Levy Park, and saw where they've segmented like our bush medicines and what's good for this ailment and that ailment, and it really was just an educational experience. If you get a chance to go to Eleuthera, please go and do so, and explore. Don't just go to the normal spots. And I must send a shout out to the staff at Frigates down there in Rock Sound.
Frigates.
Yeah, man, Phil. They had amazing food, but they were so willing to accommodate us and go out of their way, and so I wanted to thank them for that.
Nice.
Did have one poor experience. A local manager, part owner of one of the restaurants out there in Governor's Harbour by the name of Elliot, unfortunately was not very polite to us, and actually came at us very aggressively and not willing to to work with us as guests, and so that was disappointing.
Hopefully that was just an off day, Elliot.
Yeah, and I told him so. I said to him, you know,
that's just an off day.
because as Bahamians, we love these islands as well. Tourism is doing a lot to promote us going to them, and so it's really important that we as managers and leaders, even in our off days, try our very best to lead by example.
You know, sometimes you only get one chance.
Yeah, that's it. You know, so I was quite disappointed. But what's
impression.
happening here?
A lot is happening here. This is actually from Junior Achievement. You know, 40 years, 40th anniversary, all year long. In fact, we stretch it out to a year and a half. But the trade show, you remember the trade
I'm
show.
sure.
Listen, these are some of the products from this past weekend. They were out in Hawaii doing their thing, selling. I know we have NIB in the house. We're going to get to the program in a second. But, you know, I love the fact that the kids just jumped on what's happening.
Okay.
You know, the products. You know, you have the plastic bands.
Okay.
You have the straw bands, right?
So these are straws that you can drink from. Okay.
You know, so they're selling these. But, you know, some of these things, and I hope I don't get in trouble because all of the companies were out there, right? That was NIB. This is BTC, Commonwealth Bank, etc.
Okay.
But some of these, man, look at this. This is just amazing.
That is so cool. So this is actually, I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is called a plant in a box. Grow It, Eat It, Love It by BTC Horizon.
Yeah, look. And you got the seeds right here.
Wow, and the seeds are right there. Okay.
You got okras, you got peppers, you got thyme.
That is
I said it right?
awesome.
Thyme.
Yeah.
Kale. Just onions. I mean, so literally, you know, they got the soil in here. You just sprinkle it in,
That
you
is
water
so
it,
cool.
and it starts.
That is
within
so
like
cool.
a
I hope
couple
Ministry of
days.
Agriculture sees this.
You know what is interesting? I think this particular company paid a courtesy call on the minister himself, Pintard.
Okay.
And they said he bought about 100 or so. Great
Yeah,
job,
that's
Michael.
awesome.
You know, so you have the guava jam. This was my son right away, right? So I was trying to say, listen, man, tamarind sauce, right? He's like, tamarind sauce. I'm like, you know, he didn't quite understand it. So I bought this one for me, and of course, you know, this KPMG, they did a lot of, their company's name is called
Saucy.
Sauce. That's their name.
Yes.
I don't know what the acronym is for. And of course, you know,
Artists with posters, man.
They did have a company that literally, the achievers painted on canvas and they were selling them. I'm like, are you guys artists? They're like, we are now.
Wow.
So it's just interesting, man. Listen, gotta love it. The creativity is just off the chain. You know?
Wow. And I saw that one of them had actually created kind of like their own television show.
Yep.
And they were kind of selling that. And
Yep.
so it really is just awesome to see what
Awesome to
Junior
see them,
Achievement is
man.
doing.
And they were all over the key. I mean, they're approaching
Yeah.
the tourists and just having fun. And literally, this is what it's all about, learning. So one of the companies, I'm like, how's it going? They're like, well, you know, we started out with X number and we're now X minus 10. And, you know, we had some people that resigned and some others.
Oh, dear. Remember those
Right,
things.
so I'm like, listen, man, I said, sounds like you guys are having a great year. This is what
Yeah.
it's all about in the business world. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down, sometimes
Yeah.
it's, you know.
That's
neither up or
exciting.
down.
That just adds to the
Yeah.
smile on my face today to hear that our young people are doing so well. So we, of course, want to continue to encourage them
Yeah.
and to encourage you always to offer your best foot forward and to try something new
Try
in a
something
box.
new, in a
Plants
box.
in a box.
plant in a
So
box.
cool.
I did wish Carlos a happy birthday while you were gone, right? Because it was his birthday
It was
weekend.
his birthday
Yeah,
yesterday.
so you guys were just having a real good time. You know, every Valentine's Day, you guys have a great opportunity. How old is
Cairo?
Yeah.
Cairo is 2.5. She'll
was
be
born
3
in
in September.
September, wasn't she? Yeah,
She
that's
was.
right.
She was.
born
We
in
found out about
September.
her on Valentine's Day
Yeah.
2 years ago,
I
and now,
remember
of
that.
course, expecting another one. So we're good. We're good. Certainly, we made no more on this trip. So, you know, we've got great stuff to come in this particular show, and we're so happy that you're with us. Thank you for staying with us as we discuss the exciting
I
things
know,
in our
we
lives.
could talk all day. I mean, there's so many things happening this weekend. But one of the biggest things, and Godfrey said that we should have started the show with this, but we got so excited about our weekend, Godfrey, and, you know, these kids from Junior Achievement. But the man,
Buddy Buckets.
Buddy Bucket.
Congratulations to Buddy Healed.
He wanted that.
Yeah, he did.
He wanted that, and I'm so proud. I mean, I saw the family photo floating around on, you know, WhatsApp. I mean, he just is making us proud. He's been certainly a wonderful ambassador to the Bahamas. So proud. We got a 3-point champion now.
Yeah, 3-point champion, and the minute that he won and he posted, he said 2-4-2 to the world.
To the world.
And so, of course, I think we're all just basking in Buddy's
To the
success
world,
over this
to the
weekend.
world,
Certainly
yeah.
made us incredibly proud, and
Yeah.
then dedicating that win, of course, to those victims of Hurricane Dorian, who many of them are still struggling. And so, hoping that will help to transform some of the way that we're receiving aid for them, and that things will continue to get better from that perspective.
From that perspective. But we do have a wonderful show. We've got a busy show. I know we've talked quite a bit already, but you know, that's the excitement. Doctors Hospital is back to talk about vascular disease. It was interesting. I was reading it a little bit and talked about how, you know, pains running through your feet. Godfrey, you'll pull this guy aside, both you and I, you know, because sometimes, in fact, you know, the heart. NIB is back. I love those guys. In fact, you know, if any of the achievers are watching, apparently some of these executives don't know what you're doing, so you got to go and get them here this morning. I'm going to put Stephen on the hook and say he's going to buy 20 himself. So they have another open house. They had one, I think, last month.
Okay.
And they have another one coming up. The Kingdor Parkinson's Foundation is also going to give us an update on their 2020 calendar of events.
All right, sounds good. Well, you guys know it's February, and so all month long we've been talking about historically black colleges and universities. We've got more of those success stories for you this morning, and so we're looking forward to that segment. In addition to that, we're going to be talking with Dr. Pinto. Always good to have him back in studio.
He's so entertaining.
He is. But today we're talking about something pretty important, urinary tract infections and how they can, you know, hurt the body and what you can do to treat them. So we're
Pretty
looking
common,
forward to
too.
that. Yeah, very common in men and women. So it's going to be a very good segment. And then, of course, legal aid. Whenever Merit Store is here, he breaks down whatever is happening in the law and politics for us from a very legal but very practical way. And so we're looking forward to that conversation as well. So we got all that ahead and more. And even after all this talking and all these shea products, we still got a very special person for you. Here's Godfrey Burnside now with our first look at weather.
Weather at sunrise. Brought to you by Bahamas First. First in insurance. Today, tomorrow.
Thank you, Stan. Good morning, Bahamas. Congrats to Buddy 242. Phil, we're trying to make a trade now in LA, okay? To get him back in LA, okay? Good. Any weather today, you do have a weak trough across the extreme northwest part, just north of it. That caused a couple of showers, the breezing to show the Grand Bahama Abaco Bay over the weekend. That's moving to the north. High pressure is going to build across the islands. So it's going to be light today. Will start increasing by tomorrow across the islands as high pressure builds across the islands. But a lovely weekend still weather-wise today. Partly sunny on the warm side. And yes, there's a chance of a couple of spotty showers, particularly over the northwest Bahamas and the Grand Bahama area. Your high temperature 82. Tonight, partly cloudy on the mild side. Your low temperature going down to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And some region highs and lows across the Caribbean. Barbados 81 and 76. In Jamaica 84 and 67. In Trinidad 87 and 74. And the Turks and Caicos Islands 82 and 72. Across North America, Atlanta 1642. In Raleigh 62 and 36. In Miami 78 and 69. Dallas, Texas 76 and 60. And Toronto, Canada 35 and 23. As we go through the week, we're looking at partly sunny skies. On the warm side, a little breezy, particularly in the central and southeastern islands. Those temperatures daytime will be in the mid-80s, at nighttime in the lower 70s. That puts you up in your first look at weather sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Star.
Thank you so much, Godfrey. Well, it's Black History Month all February long, and that means we've been highlighting historically black colleges and universities. Today we're going to get to speak to some of the family members of the 2019 HBCU College Fair scholarship recipients now attending college. I mean, they were able to come into that fair and get opportunities to go abroad. We're going to find out how they're doing. We're very happy to welcome Raquel Haygood. She's the mother of Rashay Haygood, a 4.0 GPA freshman at Howard Stowe State University. Yeah. We also have Sariq Williams. She's the mother of Tradisia Duncombe, another 4.0 GPA freshman at Virginia Union University. And Erica Thompson, she's the cousin of Kania Brown, who's also a freshman at Virginia Union University. Yeah. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning. Good morning.
How y'all feel?
Good.
Good.
Thanks
Hey.
for having us.
Yeah, I mean, just hearing those results in your freshman year, when so many kids struggle to adjust and find their footing, it just makes me so proud of these young people.
Yes, we are very proud.
I'm sure you are. I'm sure you are. Okay, so Ms. Haygood, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
What made Rashay decide to attend the fair last fall?
Well, we saw it on WhatsApp status, and our goal mainly was once we got there, I told her, once we get here, we're not going to leave until we get a full scholarship. That was the plan.
Okay.
So we worked the room, and eventually the very last one, he decided to give her a full scholarship, but it was an awesome experience for everybody.
Wow. And see, that's the type of intention, right?
Yes.
And speaking it into existence, you kind of have to go in with the plan.
Definitely. Our plan was not to leave until we got a scholarship.
Wow.
A full scholarship.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so what was Rashay's activity like in high school prior to going and doing this experience?
Okay, so she was the head girl at Kingsway Academy.
Okay.
She was involved in Alpha Kappa in the school as well.
Okay.
She was the treasurer, the vice president, the treasurer at the Kingsway Academy.
Okay.
She received the highest for BGCSE in accounting.
Okay.
And she was in the accounting bowl, so their school also won the accounting bowl.
Okay.
So her goal is to become an accountant.
Clearly,
that's her goal. So she is driven, she is focused, she knows what she wants, and she goes out there and get it. Can I tell you that?
Certainly. I mean, with that 4.0, it sounds very clear to me.
Listen to me.
And what has she loved about Harris Stowe State so far?
She loves the family environment. It's a close-knit environment, a small campus. The administrators were able to call the kids by name, and we visited the campus, and I guess everybody was just friendly.
Nice.
And it didn't hurt that everybody looked like her. So.
Right. Yeah, no,
So
I mean,
that
I
was
think I hear this and it just makes me feel good because I know what it's like to go away and be uncertain about where you kind of fit into the space.
Right.
And so this is really good to hear. All right, so Ms. Williams, did your daughter always want to attend an HBCU, and how did she receive that scholarship from Virginia Union?
Well, actually, we didn't even know that she was interested in going abroad.
Okay.
But it came through the GEMS program.
Okay.
So Ms. Culmer from the GEMS program told me, well, you know, she's going to go out and we're going to carry the girls and see what's going to happen. Okay. And this was the first initial day.
Yes, I remember being there.
Yeah, and I was to work actually, and when I was leaving to go pick her up, she's like, "Mommy, did you get my video?" And I was like, "What video?" Dr. Lucas was like, oh, we're going to give her a full ride, Mom. We're going to take care of everything. And I was like, oh, my God, I cried for days.
I cried now. Like, I
cried for days because, honestly, we didn't know, that was actually something she really wanted to do. I thought, like, she was fine staying here for the first year, but she was not having that as an option.
Right.
So she made sure that was not going to be the final result.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And now that she's been there a couple months now, we already know that she's doing very well.
Yes.
How has she been enjoying the experience?
I feel like college life, she just adapted really well.
Okay.
I mean, because it's a small, very nice, very tight-knit, and it's not so bad that it actually has religious background.
Okay.
So she grew up in that.
Okay.
And it became a home for her, away from home. It was not hard for her to adjust. I mean, friends, wise, everyone called them the Bahama Mama. So she was happy. I mean, everyone just took to them. Yes, it was really nice there.
That is so exciting, Darren. I think a lot of my friends that had the HBCU experience can talk about that. And the fact that other students that look like they're really kind of honor the fact that they come from these islands and celebrate that.
Yes,
and so that's a good feeling, I'm sure, for them to have. So how proud are you of your cousin Kania for getting the scholarship to go off to school?
Very proud.
I'm sure. Do you know why she decided she wanted to go to that college fair last year?
Well, she wanted to go to the college fair last year, and most of us was working, and my mom, who would have taken her, was sick.
Okay.
So she actually caught a ride halfway and caught the bus the rest of the way.
Wow.
Because her intention was, we had already seek scholarships through national foundations here. And because she wanted to be a physician, they had told us that it would not be possible because at that time they wasn't given any scholarships to go abroad to study to be a physician.
Wow.
So she said, Aunt, she usually called me Auntie. She said, I want to go to this college fair because I have to leave with something today.
Right.
And she surely did,
That
a
is
full
awesome.
scholarship.
Mommy, the determination that they all seem to have had, right? And I hear that about, catching the bus, catching a ride, making sure that you get there no matter what, so that you get what is for you. And now that she's been at Virginia Union U, what has she really enjoyed about that experience?
Everything, especially the fact that it's a tight-knit, like Tradition Mom said, campus and family atmosphere. A lot of Caribbean students as well, and so they feel right at home.
Okay. And then in terms of like safety, because I know as a mom, for me, that's my biggest concern, right? How do you all feel about the spaces that they're in? Do you feel comfortable in knowing that they're safe each night and that they're protected?
Uncomfortable.
Very comfortable. My mom and I went, her and her husband, and we went because we said, listen, if this isn't a place that we can leave you in, I'm telling you right
Coming back up.
Security inside the cage. You had to have access to get in. We were comfortable.
Yes. All right. And so, generally speaking, this college fair and these experiences are something you would recommend to other parents?
Definitely.
It is real.
It is real.
It actually,
And when they say full scholarship, they mean full. You just got to get them there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And our kids need to sell themselves to the persons who come to the colleges. That's it. That's what got our kids scholarships. They sold themselves.
Prepared with your transcripts, everything that you have,
Awards,
everything.
Okay.
And come dressed to impress as
Yes.
well.
yes,
That's
that was
very
the
important.
number one thing. Everyone was dressed to impress.
Well, listen, we got great advice from you guys this morning. Bring it all. Every award, every transcript, have it ready. Dress to impress, and then just go after what you want to be determined not to leave until you get it.
Yes.
Excellent.
And the next college fair is coming up.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
March 14th and 15th.
Okay. And that's going to be Bahama, right?
Bahama,
Yes. And I think that they can find it online if you search
Yes, www.thinkhbcu242.com.
ThinkHBCU242.com. You can find it March 14th and 15th at Bahama. These women and their children. You see how they're glowing? They have me glowing. Because they're so proud of our young people. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be back with more after this commercial break.
Good afternoon. First response. How can I help you?
I've been in an accident on West Bay Street. Can you send someone to help?
Yes, ma'am. A first response team will be there in 15 minutes. Are you hurt?
No, I'm fine, but a bit upset.
We're glad you're not hurt. Please, try to relax. Our team will take care of everything as soon as they arrive.
First Response provides immediate on-site service and support from the scene of an accident through the claims and repair process. And it's free to all Bahamas First insured drivers in New Providence, every day for any type of accident. If you drive and want First Response on your side, call 321st or visit bahamasfirst.com for the name of an authorized Bahamas First agent. First Response can't prevent an accident from happening,
But it can certainly ease your mind when it happens.
Incudus is a shared workspace company that provides services for professionals, freelancers, anybody that's in need of a turnkey solution for a private office space, a conference room rental, or part-time office space service. One of our main services that we provide to our members is high-speed internet access. There can be up to about 50 members within our space utilizing the internet and the Rare Voice services. And Rare has done an excellent job of dedicated, reliable, high-speed internet service.
Welcome back to the show. Well, every month, Doctors Hospital Health System hosts a distinguished lecture series, and this week, consultant in interventional cardiology, Dr. Alejandro Mesbles is going to be talking about artery disease, leg and pain, and so much more. Dr. Alejandro, welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. Last time you were here, we were talking diabetes.
Yes, I was talking about diabetes, and leg pain and arterial disease have a strong relation with diabetes. Yes.
Yeah. So when we talk about artery disease, obviously leg pain, but what are some of the signs and symptoms that somebody might have a problem?
Yes, many times patients with vascular disease, with arterial disease, have leg pain.
Okay.
Leg pain at rest or walking. Many times the patient have ulcers or diabetic foot in patients with diabetes, but the pain is the most important symptoms in this.
Any particular type of pain? Because the older you get, sometimes you can fall asleep at night and wake up in the morning and have some type of pain. But when you say leg pain, you're talking about any part of the leg or any?
Yes, with peripheral arterial disease, with vascular disease, the pain typically is like a pressure when you walk or at rest. And the pain is in the muscle because the blood flow is low and the tissue suffer and the muscle suffer and have pain.
Wow. That's interesting. So you can have it wherever the muscles are at the back of the leg.
Yes, it's important to understand that the most important localization of the arterial disease is under knee.
Okay, from the knee down.
Yes, and the pain is typically in this.
In the calf.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Great. Well, so what causes? What causes artery disease?
Yes, the artery disease have many risk factors that provoke this disease. Diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, hypertension, and diabetes have a strong relation with arterial disease. And in this problem, the occluded arteries provoke a low blood flow in the foot. Many times the arteries have stenosis, have occlusions, and we need to open these arteries, treat this disease, because the complications in the follow-up are very, very bad.
Right. So the blood is not flowing anywhere within your body. You're going to have a problem.
Yes, of course. It's the same that in the legs, it's the same that in the chest and the heart and the brain, kidney. It's the same situation.
Is this mostly due to lifestyle, or is it genetic? I mean, is it
Yes, the genetic is very important.
Okay.
But lifestyle is very, very important. If you eating bad fast food, the evolution will be bad. Diabetes and leg pain have relation, and it's the same that diabetes with the food and the lifestyle.
Exactly.
If the patients, the first treatment is change this lifestyle is very important, and we can treat the disease, the arterial disease, and patients improve very much the quality of life, because can walk, can have a normal life, and it's very important for the patient.
Does technology or some progressive treatment that you can do at Doctors Hospital that?
Yes. Now, to treat this disease, we can use medication, take pills, many times. Other option is the surgery, the open surgery, the bypass surgery. But now the best option for the patients is the endovascular procedure. Endovascular procedure is an angioplasty.
Yes.
And a stent placement is the best option, because it's not invasive. The procedure is very quickly, easy to do, is effective, and low cost. It's a good option, and we have an important experience here in Nassau with many patients, and very nice results. Patients with many times we receive the patients with indication of amputation. But with these procedures, no amputation, and the patients improve very, very much.
Right. Excellent. So this coming Thursday, distinguished lecture series at 6 p.m., correct?
Yes, 6 p.m. Doctor Hospital. Is very important for us, because the message from the hospital to the people need to be very clear. The leg pain and vascular disease is very frequent here in Bahamas and worldwide. And I think that the education, the information,
and it's free,
is very important.
And no cost.
No cost. It's free, no cost, and we'll be happy to receive.
All right, there you have it. Consultant in interventional cardiology, Dr. Alejandro Mesclas. I hope I got that right this time.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you again. Good to see you again. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise this Thursday at 6 p.m. Doctors Hospital Distinguished Lecture Series. We'll be right back.
We get up early every morning to offer safe and dependable service. Where quality service is paramount. An excellent travel experience is priority. Connecting the islands of the Bahamas to the world. Bahamas Air. We don't just fly here, we live here.
Comfort Suites Paradise Island is the best-kept secret in the Bahamas. Located directly next door to the Atlantis Resort, you'll receive all the privileges of an Atlantis guest with all the benefits of a Comfort Suite stay. Enjoy everything Atlantis has to offer, including Aquaventure Water Park, plus all the amenities of Comfort Suites. Free Wi-Fi, free breakfast daily, and kids stay, play, and eat free. Visit ComfortSuitesPI.com.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. Well, the National Insurance Board had its first open house, and it was an absolute hit, so they're bringing it back on February 22nd in case you missed it. We're very happy to welcome them here again and to learn more about what they're doing. We have Stephen Thompson, who's the Assistant Director of Employer Contributions, Compliance, and Enforcements. Big title, but he's a good man to handle it. And of course, we've got Mr. Bryce with us as well. He's the Manager of Compliance. Lita Bodie joins us. She's the Manager of Registration. And Diane Major is the Senior Manager of Core Operations. We got all the best of NIB in the house this morning. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas with Sunrise.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you all so much for coming with us. And Mr. Thompson, I'm going to get started with you. Finding out what services will be offered by the Compliance Department at the open house.
Thank you very much, and a pleasant good morning, Bahamas. I wish to say on behalf of our Minister, the Honorable Brenzel Roll, our Chairman, Mr. Troy Smith, Director, Dr. Nicola Virgil Roll, management and staff of the National Insurance Board. National Insurance Board wants to say to the Bahamas, love is in the air.
Okay.
Love is in the air. We just love our customers, and what we want to do is we know Monday through Friday, their schedules are so tight that we want to give them an opportunity this coming Saturday that we will have all of our services opening. My colleagues are with me to speak more specifically on the registration services which are available and the compliance services which are available. But love is in the air at NIB.
Okay, love is in the air at NIB. Ain't nothing wrong with that. What time will you all get started on Saturday?
We'll be there from 10 o'clock until 5.
And this will be at the Blue Hill Road?
This is only at the Blue Hill Road office. The Blue Hill Road office, we will have staff there ready and available to provide all the registration services, all the compliance services. Our cashiers will be right there waiting not only to issue checks. First of all, we need to receive some money. So persons need to come in and make their payments, can pay their contributions, bring their accounts up to date.
Okay, excellent. And all this happening on a Saturday. So that definitely means love is in the air because you don't have to rush through there Monday to Friday.
That's right.
You can come in on Saturday the 22nd, 10 to 5. All right, so with that said, Mr. Bryce, what is compliance's role in making sure that this event goes off very well on Saturday? What are some of the things that you were concerned about seeing happen?
Well, for the compliance department, what we want to do is ensure that that persons find it easy to come in and make their contribution payments. Okay. Because during the week, some persons may come there and it might be busy, and so the lines may be long. Right. But at the open house on Saturday, it'll be easier to just come in. We'll have full staff there to assist with the collection of contributions, making it easy for persons to make payments. Also, those employers who want to submit requests for good standing letters and no objection letters, we will have same-day service. Okay, so once they come in, their accounts are up to date. We will, in a couple of minutes, we will provide them with their letters. Also, those employers who find themselves in arrears, that's a perfect opportunity to come in at the open house because we will have inspectors available to assist them to discuss their arrears and to facilitate payment options. Just for the open house, we will also offer just a 30% initial payment request for the person to enter into an installment agreement. Okay. Usually it's much higher, but just for the open house on Saturday the 22nd, we'll be providing that service.
That's excellent, and this is really important because so many employers go looking for their benefits only to find that some things may not have been in order. And so this is really a good time for employers to get themselves sorted. Love the idea that there's this opportunity for installment plans with 30% down. And so we really want to encourage people to come out to that. One-day service turnaround with the good standing. That is excellent, man. I'm very excited about that. I have to take advantage of that on Saturday.
We look forward to you and as many other persons coming in as possible.
All right, excellent. And of course, Ms. Bodie, what card services will be available and open for access to the open house?
Well, this Saturday, persons can come down who find themselves too busy during the regular working hours. We will be producing cards. Persons who haven't collected their cards can also come and collect their cards. The cards from the Wolford local office as well as the Carmichael local office all will be at the Blue Hill Road office this Saturday. And so persons can come down and collect. And 2014, was our launch for the smart cards. And so we still have a significant amount of persons who haven't collected their cards. So we want to encourage all of those persons to come down and collect their cards. Renewal cards, lost or stolen cards. If you haven't registered as yet, we want to encourage those persons to come down, bring your passport or voter's card, and come down and register. Also for employers, we would like for them to also take advantage of this opportunity to come down and register. They will be able to register as well as meet with an inspector as to what they need to pay. And so for employers, first of all, you need to register with the Inland Revenue online. Once the business name is approved, then you would come visit with us. Bring your passport or voter's card, and one of the exciting team members of the registration department will assist. Persons, self-employed persons do not have to register with Inland Revenue. All they have to do is come down and register with us, bring their passport or voter's card, and we'll be happy to assist them.
And self-employed persons is really one of those categories. I think we have to continue to remind people it's really important to pay your NIB because there will come a point when you seek to be self-employed and you will look for your NIB benefit. If you've not been paying it, that benefit doesn't exist for you. So we really want to encourage those persons who are self-employed. And the rates for a self-employed person would vary according to how much they're making, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And so they don't have to be afraid of the contribution itself because it will match what they are able and capable to pay. So I like that. I want to remind people about that as self-employed persons. Now, Ms. Major, you were obviously a major part of organizing the first open house.
Yes.
And it was a success.
It was a tremendous success.
All right.
And we want to thank those members of the public who came out and made it a success. We had prizes and surprises, we had refreshments, and we had exceptional customer service all day, 10 to 5.
Okay, and can we expect the same thing this time?
Same thing will be on Saturday. So we encourage all members of the public to come out. I also want to encourage employees to take advantage of knowing their contribution status before retirement or before you're no longer on that job. We have what is called a Know Your Contribution Statement. You can come in at any time. Saturday is a good time to come, and we can print out for you just what we have in our system for you. So you can know that whether or not your employer or past employers were paying your contributions and whether or not they were paying it on the correct rate.
Yeah, and this is good. I think because people end up leaving jobs and then being concerned as to why. And then maybe a bit late to kind of go through the process of making sure that things are organized. So that's very important. Oh, so much good information this morning.
If I may, those persons, those employees who find that the employers did not pay contributions for a given period, we would have inspectors on hand right there where they can actually provide the information for us. And let me say, anybody who's indebted to NIB, the debt never goes away. So if you could have been working with somebody 10, 20, 30 years ago, those amounts still remain outstanding, and our inspectors, diligent inspectors, will go out and make every effort to have those contributions paid on their behalf.
See, and this is why employers got to come and get that 30% if you've been in arrest, because certainly the inspectors will be on it. Mr. Thompson, can we give you a call, or is there a number if we wanted to find out more information about the initiative?
Certainly. You can reach us at 502-1560, 502-178881, or 396-1952. That is my number. 396-1952. If I may also, I want to say NIB has one of the most transformative initiatives ever with the employer self-service. What this will do, it allows an employer to manage his or her own account. They can sign up for the employer self-service portal. They will manage their own accounts. They can make payments online, check their last payment online. They won't have to worry about coming into NIB. And once they make the payment online, the contribution goes straight to their records. Excellent. Which means that if somebody comes in the following day with a claim, the information is in-house. It's certainly one of the the most transformative initiatives of the National Insurance Board.
Well, NIB is stepping it up.
Trying to make people feel loved.
I feel it. I feel it, Mr. Thompson. I do. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. Remember that you can check out the NIB Open House on February 22nd to feel the love and make sure that you have all of your contributions or payments in line. We've got more to come right after this commercial break.
Dame Doris Sands Johnson, born June 19, 1921, was a Bahamian teacher, suffragette, and politician. She was the first female Senate appointee and the first woman granted a leadership role in the Senate. Once in the legislature, she was the first woman to be made government minister and then was elected as the first woman president of the Senate. She was the first woman to serve as acting Governor General of the Bahamas and was honored as Dame Commander of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire by Queen Elizabeth II. Born on New Providence Island, she completed her secondary education and became a teacher. After teaching for 17 years, Johnson returned to school to earn a master's degree and doctorate degree in educational administration. She made a compelling speech to the Bahamian legislature in 1959, pleading for women's suffrage, and subsequently made a similar plea to the Colonial Office in London. Once the right to vote had been secured, Johnson immediately entered politics in 1961, running in the first election in which women were allowed to participate. Though she lost her bid, she worked with the Progressive Liberal Party to gain Bahamian independence. When the country gained its freedom from colonial rule, Johnson was appointed to the Senate and served the government until her death in 1983.
Do you want to know more about the scriptures, the early Christian church, its teachings, suffering, other religions, the authenticity of the Bible? The Anglican Theological Institute is for you. Enroll in a 3-year certificate program. Classes are conducted from NASA and Freeport on Saturday mornings. Don't miss a class. Stay connected anytime, anywhere, with high-speed internet. Contact us at 603-2481. Visit our Facebook page. Pick up an application form at any Anglican church or at Addington House on Sands Road. The Anglican Theological Institute is for you.
Maybe you have Rev Phone with its tons of awesome and free features. Or you're watching great content on Rev TV. Or maybe you have our blazing fast internet. So you already know how good it is to have one Rev service. Imagine if you had all three. With Trio, you get all of our services for $99. And you get entered into our $250,000 cashback Christmas. So the question is, why don't you have Trio? Just call 601-8992 or email us at trio@cablebahamas.com. Rev, you and us together.
Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. We're at the halfway point. I'm Anastasia Palacios.
Happy Monday to you. I am Philip Simon.
Thank you so much for staying with us for the morning. It's been a full morning.
Full morning, and we still got another half to go.
We certainly do. We certainly do.
Another half to go. Godfrey and I were getting some free advice.
Okay.
We couldn't wait until Thursday. We had all these pains in these legs and stuff. We're like, Doc, what's going on with that? What does this mean? What about that?
That's good, though. That's good. A lot of us have more leg problems that we like to think of. And I was very surprised on a show like this one when we learned that diabetes is actually one of the leading causes of that. If those things are, not circulating well. So, yeah.
That's what he's saying. It's like you go to sleep at night and you wake up in the morning. This has got to be age, man. It's like, what? I was fine last night,
Yeah, there's a meme, a popular meme on the internet of people in their 20s dancing and they're going up and down. And then they say, this is life in your 30s, they're on.
Right,
and the lady
right.
can't just get up off the floor. And I understand. I certainly do. Listen, in the second half of the show, we're going to be continuing our conversation with the doctors. We've got Dr. Pinto. We're talking about urinary tract infections.
Yeah, we also have Merritt Store from Providence Law. We're going to be talking about foreign investment projects. We hear about it all the time, right? Properties, etc. What does it really mean? And the Kingdor National Parkinson's Foundation is back it's that time of year again now, so they have upcoming events.
Yeah, we're going to be learning more from the King North Parkinson Foundation. Always happy to have them with us. Before we get to any of that, though, we're going to take a second look at weather with Godfrey Burnside.
Weather at sunrise. Brought to you by Bahamas First. First in insurance. Today, tomorrow.
Thank you, Stan. Good morning, Bahamas. In your second look at weather at sunrise, we have a weak trough just north of Grand Bahama and Abaco. Could trickle over a couple of showers in that area during the daytime, but high pressure is building across the islands, and that will cause some increasing winds across the islands starting late tonight, early tomorrow morning. In your marine forecast today, those winds southeast to south of 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 through the northwest Bahamas, the east at 15 to 20 knots, seas 4 to 6 feet over the central and southeastern islands. On Tuesday, those winds become east to southeast at 15 to 25 knots, seas 5 to 8 feet over the northwest Bahamas, east at 15 to 25 knots, seas 5 to 8 feet over the central and southeastern islands. On Wednesday, those winds drop off again, southeast to south at 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 northwest Bahamas, but continuing windy east to southeast at 15 to 20 knots, seas 4 to 6 feet over the central and southeastern islands. Your tides. You can expect a low tide at 9:08 this morning. Your next high tide will be 2:56 this afternoon. Low again tonight at 8 minutes past 9. Sunset 6:05 this evening, rising at 6:48. UV index 8. Your water temperature 74 degrees Fahrenheit. And your moon phase last quarter. The extended look. Pretty good weekend so weather-wise. High pressure builds across the islands, and that's going to push a cold front through sometime on Friday into Saturday across the islands, so it could be a wet weekend. But during the week, partly sunny skies, warm temperatures, breezy. Temperature daytime will be in the mid-80s, at nighttime in the lower 70s. That puts you up in your final look at weather at sunrise. I'm Godfrey Burnside. Back to you, Phil.
Thank you very much, Godfrey. Last week, the Prime Minister announced in a national address that a heads of agreement would be signed for a $300 million development in South Abaco, and that a heads of agreement would be signed for the sale of the Grand Lucine Resort on March 2nd. We're going to discuss how projects like this and the approval process works for joint ventures, even with Bahamians. And we've got back on the show all by his lonesome. We'll talk about that another time. Mr. Merritt, Store Managing Partner, Province Law.
Good morning, sir.
Good to see you again.
Yes, yes. I'm sorry it's just me.
So listen, we talk about these heads of agreement all the time. Foreign investment, of course, is a mantra here in the country. But if a foreign company like a resort developer would like to invest in the Bahamas, and they do it often, what are the initial steps and how long does the overall process take?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things. If they identify a property that they want, then they're going to need to make an application to acquire that property in accordance with what is called the International Persons Landholding Act. That's any foreigner who wants to invest in the country has to acquire land and get approval for it by the Investments Board. They'll also need to submit what is called a project proposal to the National Economic Council. And in this proposal, they outline exactly what the business is, what the economic impacts are, is it going to create X amount of jobs, any potential environmental impacts, et cetera, et cetera. So they go into detail explaining what it is they want to do. They submit this application to the Bahamas Investment Authority, which will undertake the initial investigations and due diligence into the project.
Okay, so the Bahamas Investment Authority is the government agency that undertakes the initial due diligence, or they coordinate that entire process?
They coordinate and they undertake initial due diligence. So, for example, included in any application, either to acquire land or for a project proposal, the principals have to submit character references, financial references, police records. So BIA, Bahamas Investment Authority, will be responsible to ensure that this due diligence is followed up on. Whatever it is that we need to find out is done. They'll also coordinate with the BEST Commission, Bahamas Environment Science Technology Commission, to do environmental impact studies, environmental management plans. So all that is coordinated through Bahamas Investment Authority.
I mean, we hear about the BEST all the time because obviously given the nature of the Bahamas. The environment is just so critically important to everything. Just about every project that we do, I would imagine. If a Bahamian would like to go into business with a non-Bahamian by way of a joint venture, and the Bahamian is the majority partner, I guess that might be a prerequisite. Is it a prerequisite, number one? And is there a different approval process for the project if you take that route?
No, a joint venture can be minority or majority Bahamian participation. But either way, it still requires that same process I described, NEC approval, etc. Once there's a foreign component, even if it's only 1%, you have to go through that due diligence process through the National Economic Council. So sometimes this is probably why you hear the term fronting, which the Bahamian pretends to be the sole owner, and that probably is to avoid this due diligence process, which can be very time-consuming and costly, and can take a very long time to complete. But it is required, and it should be required, for anybody who's coming into the country that we do proper due diligence on them.
All right. You mentioned just now the National Economic Council, and of course there's also the Investments Board, which you mentioned. There's also an Immigration Board, which plays a very important part in all of this. Are all these separate functioning entities, or doesn't the Cabinet or government have the right to give the final approval? I guess all of this funnels back to the Cabinet.
Yeah, the interesting thing is, it took me a while as an attorney to appreciate all of those entities we just mentioned: National Economic Council, Immigration Board, Investments Board. Those are all either the Cabinet or subsets of the Cabinet. So they go by different names. But it's all the Cabinet. But you know, it also points to the fact that we have a very centralized system and a very bureaucratic system. And so, I mean, Cabinet normally meets once a week. So how many things can they get done on a weekly basis? You get work permit issues, citizenship issues, you get purchase of land issues, you get projects, and so, and they get other things to talk about, you know. So, yes, all of that is the Cabinet.
Anyway, that's something that Kelly and I will get into after the show. But listen, if a group of well, let's just jump back for a second. Can a foreign person apply for and receive a business license without going through this NEC application?
Well, based on what we've just said, they should not be able to. They should not be able. And I've had persons who have tried, and thankfully they've been unsuccessful. You will normally have to produce certain things to the Business License Authority, including proof of citizenship, before a business license will be granted to you. And if you cannot produce those items, they will route you back through the Bahamas Investment Authority.
Okay, so there's a checklist, and it's a strict checklist.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So we see it all the time. In fact, some of our more recent projects where you have persons or groups of persons opposing a project, and then they provide a legal challenge to the project. Can they actually stop the project that way? And what alternatives do they have to pressure the government?
I'm not immediately aware of a group that's tried to create pressure that has been able to stop a project. There have been no slow projects. You know, I think one of my colleague attorneys is very famous for his involvement in certain things. But I don't think those stop. Those slow and those frustrate. What can turn projects around or stop the government or cause them to take pause is political pressure. You know, there was a development out at Clifton at one point that was proposed, and political pressure caused the government to back up. But you know, for example, the Disney project that's expected in South Eleuthera, you'll note that the government met with the community, and apparently it has community support. And so even though there are all these petitions that are circulating, all these people saying they oppose the project, on the ground there, it appears, and the government thinks, that the community there supports it. And so political pressure is probably the main way that you can stop a project.
The loudest noises don't necessarily come from the majority. Concessions. Concessions. Are there concessions that are made available for foreign investors that are enshrined in Bahamian law and also available to Bahamians?
I think there's a perception in some quarters that there are certain incentives that are only available to non-Bahamians. The Hotels Encouragement Act is a prime example of incentives that are available to anybody. Okay? Once you have a certain amount of rooms that you're developing, everything that someone else who's coming into the country is able to access, you are able to access. So it normally depends on scale and size of project, the employment impact, but the legislation itself makes does not tailor, it doesn't say Bahamian or non-Bahamian. You know, once, if you're Bahamian and you're going to build a 100-room hotel and you got what the act requires, you're entitled to those benefits.
So it's a matter of knowing your law and knowing
Yes.
your policies and
Yes.
just becoming, I mean, if you're going to get into business, that's something you should know anyway.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, Merit Store Managing Partner, Providence Law, to traveling Nadia, safe travels back home. So thank you so much, man, for being here.
Thank you.
Back to you, Star.
Thank you so much, Phil. Well, recurrent urinary tract infections plague both men and women. There are many causes and a thorough analysis is needed to determine the root cause. So here to explain this more is Dr. Gregory Pinto. Of course, you know him. He's our resident urologist. He is from Urology Care Bahamas. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Thank you for having me, and I have to say good morning to my daughter, Gia.
Good morning, Gia. Always know that shout-out's going to come from your dad whenever he's with us. But Doc, this is something that I think is really an important conversation because UTIs impact both men and women. Do we see it more in women?
We are seeing it more in women just because they're predisposed to getting urinary tract infection. It's more of an anatomical reason. So they have shorter urethra, so it's easier for the bacteria to enter the bladder. Okay. And once it's in the bladder, it can go up to the kidneys. For another anatomical reason, because of the perineum is basically the anus is very close to the vagina. So you can have the natural bacteria in the GI tract, in the rectum, in the anal area that can actually go up into the urethra as well. Also, when women enter menopause, there's issues related to a weakening of their pelvic floor musculature. There's a reduction in their estrogen levels, so it leads to vaginal atrophy, leads to atrophy of the actual urethra and the bladder. So they're not emptying their bladder completely as they enter menopause. So for those reasons and many others, it's easy for women to get urinary tract infections. So it's very common for a woman to get urinary tract infection at some point in their life, but I'm talking about the pain and frustration of women getting urinary tract infection 6 or 8 times a year. It basically controls the quality of their life. It ruins their quality of life. It can be as bad. I'm not just talking about a little bit of urinary urgency or frequency or discomfort when you urinate. I'm talking about women that at times, it's almost like they're urinating razor blades.
Wow.
They fear urination.
Wow.
So they're afraid to have a glass of water because they know they're going to urinate. So it consumes their life, and it negatively affects every aspect of their life. They can't drive their child to school because they know every 10 minutes they got to urinate. It's going to affect their professional life, their social life. It's no need for a woman to live like that, or a man, or a child to live like that. So
it is something that you can find in children as well?
Definitely. So even children, it affects their schooling. It affects their ability to stay in class because every time in a period they have to ask the teacher twice, 3 times to go and urinate. So it affects every spectrum of our society, young and old, male and female.
Now, from that conversation with you just now, I got the impression that some of the symptoms obviously are urinating frequently, pain when you urinate. Am I missing anything else that might be a symptom that it is?
So not every time you have pain in urination is related to urinary tract infection. That's also a misconception. In many cases, that's the first thing we need to rule out, but you can have referred pain. That might be a sign that you have kidney stones. It might be related to a uterine fibroid. So it's not every painful urination that definitely means. There's even not a very common syndrome, but a syndrome that occurs called painful bladder syndrome, interstitial cystitis. So that in itself can mimic urinary tract infection or bladder infection, except there's no bacteria present. So anytime you have a urinary tract infection, you actually need to prove it. You need to get a urine sent to the lab for culture. Well, they'll tell them which bacteria is present, which antibiotic it's sensitive to, and which it's resistant to, because many of the commonly prescribed antibiotics are actually sadly resistant to many of the bacteria. So you can talk about Augmentin, that might have a resistance of 50%. You might have ciprofloxacin, that might have a resistance as high as 60%. So you may be on antibiotics chronically, and these antibiotics aren't doing you any good because the bacteria is resistant to it. Even more complicated, that many studies lately have shown that at least 20% of urine cultures, these are sent to the lab, actually are falsely negative. So they've done tests on these negative urine cultures, and at least 1 in 5 actually have bacteria when they do the DNA bacteria testing
Okay.
for these bacteria and the culture cells are negative. So just because you have a negative culture, if you're still having the symptoms, still need to treat the symptoms. But let's treat the root cause.
Okay.
If it's because you're not emptying your bladder, let's determine why you're not emptying your bladder. For a man, in many cases, it's just because of the other prostate problem.
Okay.
BPH, benign prostate hyperplasia, that affects every middle-aged man. So you're never emptying your bladder completely. You have a weak urinary stream. You're waking up 5 times in the night to urinate. As soon as you have a glass of water, you got to go and run and urinate.
Okay.
You can't delay voiding urination. So everybody needs to listen to their body. If their body's telling you that you have to urinate too frequently, and by frequently I mean anything more frequently than every 3 hours,
Right.
you need to address that situation. I mean, many men, for example, drive with a cup in their car because they can't even make it
to the bathroom.
to the side of the, I'm not even talking about the bathroom,
To
the side of the road.
Wow.
You don't need to live like that, even if you might say that's a hindrance to your life or a bothersome symptom. You have to listen to your body, because if you're not emptying your bladder completely, your back pressure on your kidneys, that can lead to something called hydronephrosis, can lead to acute and eventually chronic kidney disease, and that can lead you down the road to dialysis.
All from not using the bathroom as regularly as you want to.
Yes.
Is there anything that we can do to prevent UTIs?
Well, for women in particular, you need to worry about the use of diaphragms. That can put you at risk.
Really?
Overuse of douches. So women actually make things worse because they have urinary tract infections, that you're using douches all the time.
Okay.
That can affect the normal flora within environment of the vagina itself and predispose you to urinary tract infections.
Okay.
Such things as warm, soapy baths all the time, that in itself can also predispose you as well. And then we always want to talk about the taboo topic of sexual intercourse. So many women will get urinary tract infections after every episode of sexual intercourse, to the point they try to avoid it because it's such a painful situation. So urinating before sexual activity and urinating after also is important as well.
Okay, these are some good tips.
Yes.
But of course, we could call your office if we want to learn more. If we're having some discomfort, we just kind of want to find out what's happening.
My take-home message is stop letting the bladder control your life.
Right.
Take control of your bladder, your urinary symptoms. You don't have to live like that.
Right. And we can do that by coming to see you. Urology Care Bahamas.
Yes.
And how can we contact you there?
Well, I have a website, urologycarebahamas.com, and my office number is 326-1929.
Okay. All right. Dr. Pinto, thank you so much for
Thank you
coming
very
and sharing. I'm always in awe when we have these conversations.
I appreciate it.
And I think about the simple ways that we could try to take better care of our health early on. So thank you for sharing with us.
I appreciate it.
You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be back with more after this commercial break.
This is Eddie, and Eddie's the change counter. This is Sean. Sean doesn't have to count change because when Sean purchases a plan with Alive, it's VAT inclusive. Keep things simple, just like Alive's all-new VAT-inclusive prepaid plans with more talk, more text, and even more data. So don't be an Eddie. Freedom simplified. Alive. Believe in best.
Welcome back to the show. The King Door National Parkinson's Foundation seeks to improve the quality of care for people with Parkinson's disease through research, education, and outreach. So very pleased once again to have Mavis Darling Hill, chairperson of the foundation, Stephanie Hanna. Good to see you. A member as well, and Marguerite. Did I do that right?
Yes.
Chanquest, also a member of the foundation. Ladies, good morning. Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. Welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise. Mavis, I see you're still celebrating. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But so good to have you back. And you know, I think it's important at the start of all of these segments to just really briefly just talk about what is Parkinson's.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to say that the Bahamas and indeed Kingdom National Parkinson Foundation join forces with countries worldwide in celebrating Parkinson's Awareness Month. April is Parkinson's Awareness Month. And so during the month of April, we do everything possible to sensitize and educate the Bahamian people regarding Parkinson's disease. And so Parkinson's disease is a neurodegenerative disease that affects the memory system. It affects the ability to walk, because when the cells in the midstream of the brain die or become impaired, then Parkinson appears. And so with that, the coordination, your ability to walk, talk, and everything else is affected. Yeah. And there are 4 cardinal signs that we want the Bahamian people to understand and appreciate. The first telltale sign is tremor. And so when you have tremor of the limbs, like the arms, the legs, the jaws, then of course that is concerned that maybe you have Parkinson's. However, researchers say that 85% of the persons who are diagnosed, that is the concern. Then there's the bradykinesia, slowness of movement. And so you see somebody with Parkinson's just moving very slowly. Then there's postural instability. That's, you see them stooped and walking like they're about to fall. And then the stiffness of limbs. And so those are the 4. And so
is that an age range?
Yes. Well, when it gets to the point where the person is having stiffness of limbs and also slowness of their ability to move, then that's more or less the 3rd, 4th stage of their condition. Yeah. And so doctors always say, well, if you have 2 of the 4 cardinal signs, then be concerned, because that's Parkinson's disease.
All right. So April is Parkinson's Awareness Month.
Yes.
And you have quite a bit of activities that are lined up for April. Marguerite, maybe you can talk a little bit about what some of those activities are.
Well, first of all, thank you for having us. We have the run-walk competition, run-walk cycle competition, which is scheduled for the 28th of March, 2020. And it will be held at the Montague Beach Park. We're asking the general public to wear our T-shirts in solidarity of persons with whom, you know, have the king of Parkinson's disease. It's going to be a wonderful event, and it's also for, it will also help will have the general public, you know, to become more aware of this disease. And
where can you get T-shirts from?
The T-shirts can be purchased at the office. We haven't gotten the T-shirts yet, but they will soon be here.
And you can start registering.
You can start registering. You can register today, tomorrow, or any time. And you can call the office, and someone is always there. It's either Mrs. Darling, myself, or Mr. Williams, who is could not be here this morning, but he will, as we move on further, the public we will let the public, or what should I say? We would give the public more information as we get nearer to the date. Yes, that's what we're going to do.
21st of March. So this is a jump start of the month of April. The 21st, we are encouraging the Bahamian people to wear our T-shirts. So it's a Wear Our T-Shirt Day. And so we've gotten several companies, organizations contacting us for those shirts. And, you know, like Mr. Turnquist said, solidarity. We want you to say to the public, we want you to say to Parkinsonians that it's okay. You didn't do anything wrong. This is just one of your challenges. And with the challenge is always an opportunity to do something good.
Yeah, so we're asking each one to tell one.
To tell one.
You know, each one to tell one. You know, so that's how, you know, everything, I mean, the news is spread or we get around to letting the public know that, you know, we are having something that, you know,
But
they
you
can
also have,
benefit from.
you also have at the end of the month, I would believe, is it the Gala Ball? How many years has it been now for the ball?
It's our 20th year.
20th year. All right, give us some details about that, Stephanie.
So on April 18th, we'll be celebrating our 20th annual Gala Ball at the lovely...
That's a good number.
At the lovely Atlantis Paradise Island.
Yeah.
And of course, we'll be entertained by Visage. Everybody loves Visage. They know how to get the mood. So this is an opportunity for us to mingle with old friends, meet some new ones that would support the Parkinsons, and just have a lovely evening. There's, you know, we're going to have prizes, surprises, silent auction. It's going to be an exciting evening.
What's the cost this year?
It's the same as last year.
We haven't changed it.
$250, yes. Very cheap, you know. So you can start saving, you know, like, you know, you have ASUS and all these other things. You know, you can have a payment plan. You can pay down, you know, until leading up to the ball.
The ball.
Yeah.
Is the ball the final event for the month?
For the month, but you know, in November we always go ahead and have our speech competition, and then of course in May we plan to have our caregivers workshop. So yes, but we have several small things in between. We're going to ask the public. We've been asking persons, members of Parliament, to worship with us, and so we're asking you all to worship with us on the first Sunday in April.
Yeah, it's just that, you know, because like, you know, Mr. Darling would say that this is a closet disease, and I believe we have many Parkinsonians in Nassau. But you know, it's just like when cancer was not so as prevalent as it is now. People would hide, you know, or AIDS, you know, nobody would say anything about the disease. You know, you see people losing weight, and you know, back in the days when you see people's hands, you know, shaking, that, you know, they used to make, you know, make fun of persons, and so you just want people to become, you know, sensitized, you know, to this illness, you know, because it can happen to anybody, any family, yes, and so so that's why we wanted to be as known or as get it out as much as possible as you know, cancer is.
Well, I think
we're trying our best, and we want to take it also to the family islands, because you know, you have Parkinsonians in the family islands, and we're not aware of, and so we want to take it there and make sure that the whole Bahamas become aware of this disease.
Well, I certainly think that you guys are doing an excellent job. It's I wouldn't say it's not necessarily a household name just yet, but it's getting there. 20 years is a long time. Excellent job. Mavis Darling-Hill, chairperson of the Kingdor National Parkinson's Foundation. Stephanie Hanna, a member, very great members here. And of course, Marguerite Turnquist, who is definitely excited about it and passionate about representation. Ladies, thank you so much. And of course, we can find out more information by contacting the office.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much. You're watching. Yeah, go ahead. What's the number?
Okay, the telephone number that you can reach us at, it's 326-5291 or 477-3782.
And the office hours are
10 to 5.
All right, there you have it. There you have it. Thank you once again. You're watching Bahamas at Sunrise. We'll be right back.
One thing, two things, blue thing, whole things, things that are small, things that are grand, things that fit just right, and in the palm of your hand. Fox Hill Nursery, a large selection of garden supplies. If you can see it in your mind, you can find it at Fox Hill Nursery.
do it for us, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in today.
Yes, wonderful show, long show, lots of information. Govern yourselves accordingly.
We will see you here on Friday. Be safe.
Bye.
Bye.